Okay, so I really don't want to say that I like my golf spider or anything like that because I really don't. I'm not trying to create a hate farm video or anything. I just kind of hate how overly opinionated they are on a bunch of stuff. Wow, sorry, it's bright in here. I actually agree with them on this one, and I disagree. Let's talk about it. So what am I talking about with this is playing multiple balls, right? So they were basically explaining that somebody was saying that they play up to about 5 different balls per round of golf. There's nothing in the rules that actually says that you can't play multiple balls. You don't have to play the same ball. Now, if you're in a tournament or something like that, obviously you got to play to the USGA rules, which, or as well as some of the course rules, which is going to say, same ball. That's a course rule. You don't have to play the same ball through the entire round. So what they're saying is, say your tee shot for the first par 4 or whatever, you're going to play your distance tour ball, let's just say the Maxfli X, because it is a good distance ball and you're still going to get pretty good size greenside performance and everything. The next hole is going to be a par 3, so you're going to need a higher flying, higher spinning ball or whatever. So you're going to go to, say again, Maxfli Tour S. It's going to fly a little bit higher. It's going to land a little bit better and spin. You kind of get where I'm going with this. You could play a different ball per each hole, but you can't change the ball from when you tee off to when you hole out, unless you lose the ball or goes in a hazard or something. So obviously you're going to have to switch ball in general, but you can't just hit your first shot, swap it to a different one, and they go from there. Match play, yeah, you could do that, scrambles and stuff, whatever. But that's different. Now, if you're just playing for the fun of it or whatever, sure, go ahead. You can swap the ball out after you hit a tee shot with, a top flight bomb, and then you want your next shot to be a little bit more performing, then switch to, X tour ball or, spin ball, whatever. I could agree with this, but I don't like the idea of let's switch ball on every single hole unless you have found a couple different balls that perform similar enough that you have the same carry and the spin and the characteristics of it. I wouldn't suggest switching the ball out on each of the holes because you're going to start getting inconsistencies with distance. This is where I agree with it. So for a very long time, I generally find 3 different types of golf balls, and I will play those throughout the year. So let's go back in the Wayback Machine and go back to around 2010 and stuff like that. I had, for the most part, I played 2 types of tour balls. It was either the Srixon Z-Star XB or it was the Penta, the pretty much first generation of the TP5s. And then I had a middle tier where if this is all depending on if they were on sale, if I could find them on the shelf. I've tested every single one of these that I knew how they performed, and they were all in the similar categories of what I was looking at. Same thing with carry distance and rollout and so on. So the middle tier that I would play was usually like the Wilson Staff FG Tour, the McGregor Tourney for a while, because at that point Srixon was making them, so it was basically a Z-Star rebranded with McGregor. There were fantastic balls I was getting for like $20 from Golfsmith. But yeah, so it was the TP3 from TaylorMade, the Callaway Hex Chrome, the FG Tour, the McGregor Tourney, whatever was on the shelf that I was able to find, I would stock up, and that was my middle tier area. And then I had my good old trusty Wilson Staff Zip. So for the most part, I was playing the Z-Star XV, the TP3, and the Zips. The reason I had 3 different balls that I had to switch between is for absolute trash weather conditions, high wind, rain, high humidity, moisture, whatever, I would play the Zips. Mostly because the dimples on it basically didn't react to anything. I knew I was losing a little bit of distance out on it because I was over compressing the ball, but it still performed in every way that I wanted it to, other than the fact in my long game, my drives in woods, I was losing about 10 yards. If I needed a little bit more control and precision, I would go to the TP3 Again, FG Tour, they were pretty much neck and neck in performance because it would give me a little bit of control on my shots. It gave me a pretty good overall round of performance, but it was right in that happy medium category where it gave me good height as well as good control. It was in a pretty friendly price range, around 30 bucks at that point. And then if I had a little bit more wide open course, or I really wanted to play a lot more serious because it was a tournament or something, then I would switch to the not the FG Tours, I would switch to the Z-Star XVs because that was my primary playing ball, because I just overall love the performance off of those in general. It gave me a fantastic distance, it gave me the ideal height that I wanted, which was slightly lower, and it gave less spin on a lot of shots, but it also gave me good handle and touch around the greens. The reason I emphasize on the fact it gave me less spin is, yes, the Z-Star XV actually spun less than the McGregor Tourney, the FG Tour, and the TP3s. But again, it depended on the weather conditions and stuff. The hotter it is, the cover is going to be a little bit softer, so I kind of gained back on that one. Especially playing in SoCal when you're starting to go north of 100 degrees. Yeah, you really start to notice that harder balls become really soft because essentially they're trying to melt like the rest of us. But the reason I bring this up is I wouldn't switch them out in the middle of the round unless I'm having that bad of a round, and then I would take, tour ball, put it in the bag, and I pull the zips out because they were stupid cheap. I have three choices that I always like to play because availability, you're not always going to find certain balls that you're playing readily available. Good example right now, the Wilson Zip. It's discontinued as far as I understand. I could find double packs of them for about 25 bucks at Pro Golf Discount right now. So generally, as I go and poke around in there, I, for the most part, will grab a double pack of it just to kind of stock up. I am going to be trying out different balls to go and see what's a good replacement of the Zip. But it was a very cheap, readily available ball that performed great. The TP3s, it really depended on that one, whichever ones were on sale at that point, because TaylorMade would have 2 packs with, 10 bucks off. The McGregor Tourneys, if I was ever at Golfsmith at that point, there were, again, $20 a ball, or not a ball, but a box. They were stupid cheap for what they were. And then I had to suck up and pay full price for the Strixons. So right now I am kind of poking around with what's currently available for my 3 different options, especially since your middle tier category is no longer 30 bucks and it's 40 bucks, but I am trying to find different little budget ways to be able to try to find the different selections again of my top end, mid end, and low end ball. That's going to give me what I am looking for. Right now, I'm kind of leaning towards the Q-Star Tour for one of those, again, depending on the cost. But I digress. So, in short, what I'm trying to say is you don't have to play the same exact ball. Now, if you're trying to improve your game, stick to the same ball. Don't change it, because that is the one variable that's not going to change. What I mean by that is every single shot, you're hitting the same ball. Once you start switching between the different balls on each of the shot, well, you're going to throw out that variable. The flight characteristics are going to be different. Your carry and rollout are going to be different. The spin's going to be different. You want to have a consistency. I don't care if it is literally the Top Flight XL distance, or if it's your favorite Pro V1 or Pro V1X or whatever. Stick to the same ball if you are trying to improve your game. You want to create a baseline of consistency. But once you actually get your swing consistent and stable enough and everything, then you can start kind of tweaking around with this different stuff. I know there's some people out there that swear up and down, don't change your ball ever. If it's cold weather, play a softer ball. If you're really that dedicated in trying to maintain the highest amount of precision, don't change it. If you're wanting to kind of just have flexibility and stuff, by all means, change it. But that's where you need to do your testing to figure out what's going to perform similar. if you just grab through your shag bag of all the different balls that you found inside bushes and lakes and everything while you're playing, God knows what you're going to be pulling out of that bag, because I sure as hell have seen everything from single piece range balls to, you know, prototypes. And by prototypes, I actually mean non-labeled Pro V1s and TP5s and stuff. It's kind of cool seeing some of those at some of the places I've been. But I digress from that. Ultimately, it's up to you. As long as you're having fun, do what you're gonna do. But just note that, like, it doesn't hurt to have a couple different balls that you can play based on the conditions and based on how you're playing. If you always play a tour ball, but you really can't afford them, have a cheap budget option, because if you're having one of those shit rounds where, we've all been there, where we lost half a dozen golf balls on the front nine, have a backup to switch to those cheap ones so you can just burn through those and it's not going to hurt your wallet as much. Because at that point, whether you like it or not, subconsciously, you're going to be aware of the fact that that ball you're looking down at is $5 and you're not going to want to lose it, and then you are going to lose it. So, wrapping this up, hopefully this gives you a little bit of an understanding of, you know, life has many doors. It's your choice. Sometimes you can have 2 doors open at a time. So, if you want to see more content like this, please like and subscribe. Please follow me for a lot more in discussions, breakdowns, mental ideas and stuff. I'm going to be doing different ideas of course management as well as mental aspect of how to improve your gameplay. And I'm also doing a series on golf ball, golf club, on how they function, how it mechanically works, and how the physics works behind it. So if you agree or disagree, please leave a comment down below. I'm trying to get the channel to grow. I really want to hear back from you guys, because what your guys' opinions are could actually help me dictate on which way I want to go and improve on this channel. So ultimately, go have fun, keep it in the fairway, have a good one.